Education is on the move in Burma. This month, local media announced that 10 pilot independent schools will be formally opened in June. And in recent months, the National League for Democracy, or the NLD, has also opened free primary schools as an alternative to government-run education.
We have now 3 schools, but I think these 3 schools have become so popular in such a short time that there are two things that will happen. Either there will be more and more schools, or the government will stamp them all out because they think they're too much of a threat. So we hope that the better thing will happen.
The education system in Burma has suffered due to low budgeting in recent decades, and many schools struggle to get by with limited resources and low pay. The NLD say they are setting up these schools as part of their political agenda, although they also provide a valuable social service for those who cannot afford the extra expense of government schools.
I think the most important thing really is to change the official education system, because the great majority of our children go to these ordinary government schools, and the system there is really terrible. The children hardly learn anything in class. In order to pass the exams, they have to take tuition from the teachers. This is a way for the teachers to earn extra money, which they say they need because their salaries are so low. But it's just because the whole system is corrupt.
In March, Burma's military handed over power to a so-called civilian government for the first time in half a century. The new president, Thein Sein, addressed issues of education in his inauguration speech, saying he wants to make improvements. Accurate information about schooling in Burma is notoriously hard to come by. In the past, the government have claimed up to a 98% enrolment rate, but recent figures from UNICEF say that almost 20% of Burmese children don't attend primary school, and many are forced to work.
Now, the last budget they've changed a little, and that again is interesting, and it gives us an idea of what kind of political system we have. The budget was prepared and ratified, shall we say, after the elections, but before the National Assembly met, so that the National Assembly can do nothing about this year's budget. And this budget allows formally for 40% for defense, 4% for education, and 1-point-something% for health. Now, 40% for defense is not all. 40% is the minimum. So if you consider this, 4% for education, and that's a great improvement. It's almost double what was spent last year, and 1-point-something, not quite 2% for health. That's the kind of political system that allows this kind of budget. It means that it's not a democracy.
But the new government has promised changes. However, for this year at least, many problems will continue in the education sector. Although a slight improvement, the current budget is still low, and changes don't seem likely in the near future. Many villages have no governmental schools, so some parents send their children to monasteries for education.
Oh yes, the monastery schools are very good. The monastic schools are very good. Again, because of the really unsatisfactory government education system, more and more children are going to these monastic schools. They're very good.
Some monastery schools offer an alternative where students are taught to think for themselves and learn critical thinking. In these schools, the teaching goes beyond the government's constricted curriculum.
If they are thinking everything is not right or wrong, they can say freely. That is, we started 2005 and we use this method. That is very important for the student. If they don't have the critical thinking or if they don't have the thinking, they cannot gather, they cannot create their mind, and they cannot be a good student and also good citizen in our country.
For now, these changes are still small, but they may be a step towards a sorely needed improvement in education. Many hope that better schooling will provide new opportunities for young people and the nation in the future.
We want to empower our people. We want to teach them that they can look after themselves. They don't have to depend on the government for everything. So these free schools that we've set up have nothing to do with the government. And suddenly people realize that they don't have to depend on the government for their children's education. And the children themselves begin to realize that. Our schools are very, very young, about 3 months old. It started about 2 months after I was released. But the number of students has already doubled, because suddenly people find that this is what a real school is about. It's not where they teach you propaganda. It's not where you have to pay the teachers in order to have extra tuition, without which you will not pass the exams. A school is a place where the teachers care about how much you learn and want you to learn and are happy to teach you. And they're not out, the teachers are not there to try to make money out of you.
The new government is still in the early stages of its rule, and the people of Burma are waiting to see if they will implement the promises they have made. Young people are essential for change in Burma, but for real change to come, these young people first need the opportunity for a stable education.